welcome everybody. My name is Cara Levy. I'm the marketing manager for Petco, the PET plastic recycling company. Welcome to all of you. We have a large audience here today, and that just shows the great interest in the recycling space, which is very encouraging. So thank you all for your time. We are interested to know where you are and which sector you represent. So Shane, if you could just launch that poll that you've loaded for people to answer, that would be great. So before we kick off, here are some ground rules for this morning's proceedings. You've all been muted by default and your cameras have been disengaged. Lastly, we know that 80% of virtual meeting attendees regard flawless audio as a key requirement for holding successful meetings. While we have tested everything to ensure smooth transitions, gremlins are known to sometimes creep in from time to time, and we ask for your patience and grace should this happen. Now let's have a look at the agenda for the day. So we have a jam-packed agenda this morning. I will kick us off with a look at who Petco is and why we are having this webinar. I will then hand over to my colleague Belinda Booker, who is the Collections and Training Manager at Petco, to talk about the work that we do with municipalities. Then Linah Duduzile Ndala will talk about the Zonda Insila Programme and how she has set up the project for success, partnering with many other organizations. And we will then hear from Serfontein from Drakenstein Municipality about how they provided waste pickers with a formal operating system, ensuring that they have a safe and secure place to do their important work. And last but certainly not least, we will hear from Saliem Haider from the Western Cape Government, who will talk about his vast experience in the municipal space and how other municipalities can go about implementing successful waste management systems. I will then do a quick summary and we will then end with a Q&A. So as mentioned by Shane, please can you pop any questions that you have into the Q&A box, which you will see at the bottom of your screen. So to start off, just a little bit of a background about the PET plastic industry in South Africa and who Petco is and what we do for those who aren't certain about that. We are what's called a producer responsibility organization, otherwise known as a PRO. A PRO in the environment in which we are operating is an organization that assumes the responsibilities of an obliged party as outlined in government regulations regarding the collection and recycling of products. We are a membership-based organization and we are paid an EPR fee by our members who are brand owners, retailers, and importers who place more than 10 tons of PET packaging onto the South African market. And we then put various initiatives in place to ensure that their packaging is collected for recycling in South Africa. Our activities enable members to assume extended producer responsibility. So imagine in the past, maybe a brand owner would just put their products onto a shelf and then step away. But now through paying us an EPR fee, we ensure that their products are collected and recycled. And we have been doing this on a voluntary basis since 2004. And as I mentioned last year, it became mandatory. So in EPR systems, producers are responsible not only for the health and safety issues associated with the products, but also for the management of packaging waste, including collection, sorting, and recycling. Essentially, this means that the producer must ensure that the products that they place onto the market do not negatively affect the environment after consumer use, and therefore must ensure that whatever post-use treatment is appropriate occurs. These are our members for 2022. With these fees and grants paid by our members in 2021, we were able to facilitate the collection of 90,402 tons. This equated to 2.1 billion bottles collected for recycling, and that is equivalent to 5.72 million bottles collected every day. Overall, 63% of PET packaging that was placed on the market by Petco members was collected for recycling in 2021. This represents a year-on-year increase of 6%. Recycling of PET packaging in South Africa requires a harmonious balance between support for informal collection systems, ensuring adequate recycling capacity, and stimulating viable end-use markets for packaging collected. Petco operates across the entire collection and recycling value chain, and the goal of maintaining this delicate balance. With the goal of maintaining this delicate balance. Through this value chain engagement, we aim to facilitate the closing of the loop, and this means ensuring that packaging is designed to be recycled that consumers know which products can be recycled and do recycle, working with municipalities to help to implement recycling infrastructure, ensuring that waste pickers are integrated and have access to recyclables, and that there are end uses available that create demand for recycled material. Most importantly, Petco's contracted financial assistance based on the volume of bottles recycled has contributed to the successful development of bottle-to-bottle recycling in South Africa, successfully closing the loop and contributing to a circular economy. An important component of the value chain which we are focusing on today are municipalities. Last year, we saw the introduction of mandatory EPR. It is a positive step by the South African government to compel local producers to take responsibility for their post-consumer packaging waste. So what does this mean when thinking about the role of PROs when it comes to municipalities in South Africa? The legislation states that PROs will need to collaborate with municipalities by November 24. Petco has actually already been doing this since 2008. And to expand on this, I will now hand over to my colleague Belinda to tell you more about some of the work that we do in this space. Thank you very much. Over to you, Belinda.
Thanks a lot. Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's nice to have all these people here. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about our municipality and on-the-ground engagement. You can click, Cara, thanks. So our municipality engagement, over the past 17 years, we've been engaging with municipalities on sustainability programs to improve effective waste management and recycling rates. Now, key among the municipal waste management priorities is the diversion of waste that has value from landfills, as well as accommodating waste pickers in the recycling value chain. In partnership with municipalities and other organizations, Petco empowers informal reclaimers through training and mentoring in entrepreneurship and enterprise development. Petco's role in these municipality waste management partnership projects comes in the form of equipment provision and infrastructure support for waste pickers, as well as buyback centers. And then with the goal of incorporating waste pickers into the formal recycling sector, as well as training and skills development for municipality employees involved in the waste management. Okay, now our collectors training and development. We see the role of training and the mentorship of collectors as being critical to improving working conditions and assisting entrepreneurs to grow and sustain their businesses, and thereby stimulating economic growth, job creation, and development in our country. As such, Petco offers collectors recycling workshops. We offer accredited training and project equipment support. The type of collectors workshops that we offer is for waste pickers, for collectors, buyback centers, and municipality officials. And we normally do how to start recycling business, how to grow a recycling business, different types of recyclables. We connect them with buyers. We teach them how to add value to their material. And then we connect them with buyers, the buyback centers, and we also teach them about record keeping. Then we also offer them 3-day SAQA accredited basic training skills. And normally we do that 3 programs like level 1, level 2, and level 3. And we would do it like 6 or 8 months apart. And we teach them financial management, administration, record keeping, marketing, legal aspects, whatever they specifically need. We develop or work around them, and we give them training around that. And then by the end of the third training, they actually have a proper SAQA accredited training, business training that they can actually use, not necessarily in the cycling industry. Thanks, Karen. So this is a map, just a picking of the workshops and accredited training that Petco has done between 2012 and 21. We've done 160 recycling workshops where about 8,700 people were attended, and they were trained in partnership with municipalities, Department of Environmental Affairs, and provincial departments, as well as industry partners. In 2021, we hosted 28 recycling business workshops with 1,400 people attending, and then we offered 43 accredited business trainings with 1,317 delegates were trained. Okay, so this is pictures on people achieving their certificates on the different levels. And then while we're there at the business training, we also then start supporting them with some bulk bags if they're in businesses, and we start networking with them and then find out what their businesses are doing like. Okay. So Petco also, we support projects through the sponsorship of infrastructure and equipment that unlock collections and we help collectors to improve their efficiencies as well as the quantity and the quality of PET collected. To be honest with you, when we train the collectors, we do not just teach them about PET. We have all our partners' presentations, and we normally teach them about all the other products, because we do believe that a buyback center or a collector has to collect all the materials, otherwise their businesses won't be sustainable and they will not make enough money. And we assist cooperatives, buyback centers, SMMEs, waste pickers, schools, and learning institutions, as well as municipality recycling projects. And we also assist them with the efficient transportation of their baled material. So PETCO supports the whole value chain from the waste picker is where we start. We support the waste picker, the street and the landfill site pickers, the cooperatives, the bucky and truck collectors, the small buyback centers, the large buyback centers, and then also the waste management companies up to the recycler. So we support the sponsorship of infrastructure and equipment, and we do it through we do it to unlock collections and to help collectors to improve their efficiencies. So normally we support them like with bulk bags, trolleys, scales, cages, trailers. We would go out to their sites and we would evaluate what specifically that buyback center or collector needs. And we normally do it in a phase support where they report back to PETCO on a monthly basis. We monitor their volumes. We also monitor their employees. And we've been doing that all these years, 15 years since I've been with PETCO. And then on a monthly basis, they report their volumes to us. And then we will go in and according to the growth of this buyback center, we will then go on to the next phase of support, be it training or extra equipment support. Yeah, that's just examples of some of our projects we supported with some trolleys and with some trailers to increase their PET collections. Right, and then here, this is reflecting back what PETCO has done in 2021. We've supported equipment projects, 46 of them with equipment. We've done 28 recycling workshops. We've done 3 accredited training, partnered with 40 municipalities. We did 111, sorry, there I'm going, with COVID project support, and then we've done 32 with transport. After COVID, a lot of these buyback centers, they didn't have cash flow. Some of them closed down. So PETCO then supported them either with top-up subsidies to enable them to buy material from the waste pickers. And we also support them with transport support to get the material to the recyclers. We provided 13 projects with bins, and then 62 projects we've provided with bulk bags and blankets. And then we work with the informal sector. Historically, the waste pickers have played a very important role in the recycling sector in South Africa. It's difficult to quantify the number of waste pickers and the contribution made by them, but we all know it's a significant contribution. The majority of waste pickers in South Africa operate on the landfill site, and this has its advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, it's not the ideal situation for them to work in, but the reduction in the amount of waste that has to be landfilled, they've contributed to that. The waste pickers are normally very well versed with all the different waste streams. They know what they have to collect. They know which materials have a market value, and that's what they will pick. The highest market value, those are the projects they will pick, and they won't pick the others. That's what they tell us in numerous meetings. And a majority of them, they operate without personal protective equipment, and they're often in danger of being run down by heavy machinery operating on the landfill site. Okay, and then we've been working with the big waste picker groups, but we also have worked with other waste picker groups, for instance, that do not belong to these groups, but they have their own groups. But we're working with SAPA, the South African Waste Picker Association, as well as with Arrow. And we provided them with equipment, we provided them with training, accredited training, and we've been working with them to ensure that they can also grow and move them up the value chain. We've done some pilot projects with them in Johannesburg where they actually implemented the separation at source. And then the SAPA group, we've done a project with them where they in Sasolburg, there were 22 waste pickers that used to operate on a landfill site. And they now, since 2014, the project has been launched, and they're operating in a municipality drop-off site, and they've been operating them there for the past 8 years. And the community has adopted them. We did a lot of awareness. This group has, to my knowledge, the highest participation rate from communities, because they're working on a 98% participation rate at the informal sector in the formal household separation at source projects. PETCO now also, we work with municipality waste picker support. So we want to assist municipalities with the implementation of the waste picker guidelines. In order for us to assist the municipalities, we need them to do the following for us. They need to register the waste pickers in their municipality. If they have a site, those people that's working on the site, we need the site where the waste pickers can store, sort, and possibly bale their material. It needs a secure covered building. They need ablution facilities. They need water as well as three-phase electricity. And then once the municipality has the above in place, we can then work with the municipality and then implement a program with the municipality for the waste pickers. Now, what we have done, we have established Project Up. It's the EPR specifies that the PROs must pay waste pickers a service fee for all the different materials that they sell. And the only way that we can pay them is if they're registered on a system where we can actually track the quantities of the material that they are selling monthly. Now, excuse me, the requirement of the law is also that waste pickers have to be registered on the National Waste Picker Registration System in order to be paid. Now, PETCO has initiated Project Up, where we register the buyback centers, and they in turn register the waste picker, their clients, and they populate every sale onto the system, which will then enable PETCO and the other PROs to retrieve the data to enable us to pay the waste pickers. Currently, we have registered 104 buyback centers who are trading on Project Up, and what we now expect is also where the majority of waste pickers are registered on the national system, if they can tell us which buyback centers, so we can ensure that we then also register those buyback centers to enable us to pay them on the system. So there's a lot of benefits. If you can see there, that's the type of stats that we can pull out. Obviously, with the POPIA Act, we can't pull out individual stats, but we can give aggregated stats just to show you the different types of material that was sold among some buyback centers, the breakdown. And it's very easy for the buybackers to implement, and they can now eliminate paper and manual processing, because it's very easy to work on a smartphone. They register the collector and they know their customers' records. It's real-time book of purchases with daily, weekly, and monthly visibility of material types that they bought and how much they've spent by each material time. It's real-time visibility of all purchases. It's cashless payment option. And we've got a few cashless payment option now for the waste pickers and the buyback centers, which takes away a lot of risk. I know of some buyback centers that spend fortunes per month just in security to look after their cash. And now the collectors can also start building an economic history of all their transactions that they do. So with a municipality waste picker support, this would be then the way as well that will enable us to pay the waste pickers eventually. Okay. So working with PETCO, with the municipality engagement, we believe it's critical to engage and support municipalities across the country. As such, we are proposing a municipality support program for material recovery facilities, training and skills development, and a framework for longer-term separation at source rollout. We are further proposing a specific separation at source fund, which will be accessible by municipalities, by collectors, waste picker groups, cooperatives, and other entities. Thus far, PETCO has worked with a total of 172 municipalities, 8 metros, 126 locals, and 38 districts in all 9 provinces. And what the support that PETCO provides them, we review the integrated waste management plan, we look at the actions that they want to implement, and we see how we can assist them in their action. We support separation at source projects, we support their waste pickers and SMMEs with recycling workshops, accredited training, and equipment support. And the majority of our waste picker workshops and training is always in partnership with the municipalities. And then just some examples of municipalities projects that we have implemented in Singa local municipality in Limpopo. On the landfill side, they provided some space for the waste pickers, and then Petco came in and we supported them with a baling machine, 3-phase electricity connection, and a 4-meter training. And then before the support, they were collecting 2 tons of PET. 3 months after we started supporting them, they're already collecting 5 months of PET, and we monitor their growth. And all these projects, they grow, all their volumes normally increase after support. Saliem Greater Municipality, we've supported their collectors with business training, and we've also supported them with some trolleys. And then in partnership with Safripol, Petco supports schools and projects with color-coded bins. We've supported municipalities, parks, zoos, corporate offices, residential complexes, and estates for their separation at source projects. And then just another example of a school separation at source project that we've done in partnership with Bojanala Platinum local municipality, and they've identified the school and connect with one of our buyback centers that will do the collection on behalf of the municipalities, and 5 schools were selected, and they were supported with 100 color-coded bins. So that in a nutshell is the type of projects that Petco does on the ground, how we support municipalities and the downstream collectors network. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Belinda. As you are known as Father Christmas in the industry, which I love. Everyone just contacts you all the time. I'm going to stop sharing and then reshare to hand over to Linah from DARDLEA. Linah, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Kara. Good morning to everyone. My name is Duduzile Ndala, Linah, working for the Department of Agriculture, Rural Development, Land and Environmental Affairs in Mpumalanga. We are so grateful to be associated with the hosting company Petco, because we've been on the race with them for quite a long time, until the baby Zonda Insila Programme in Mpumalanga was born. Next slide. Okay, the ZIP program was launched basically on the 19th of March in Brighton under Sugalikwa local municipality. That was following the launch of the Good Green Deeds by the state president of South Africa, when he was actually saying that South Africa is very dirty. So he came up with this program of Good Green Deeds. And fortunately, it happened in 2019, just after the first very inclusive workshop was held in Pilgrim's Rest with the assistance of Petco and other affiliating companies working with waste in Pilgrim's Rest in 2018, where we managed to identify a lot of people who are taking initiative on the ground to solve the littering and the illegal dumps problems within the province. So it was easy for us to adopt the Good Green Deeds, but my superiors or principals, they actually adopted it as is Zonda Insila for the province, but basically is the same concept. Next slide. Okay, the role of the ZIP teams is to clear the illegal dumps within the province, conduct cleanups, which we long started with them, but we just needed to formalize them, that it should be a program that is doing something very tangible. And as it is now, the diversion of waste that lands to the landfill site has been drastically reduced. And our environment, where there is these teams, the Zonda Insila Programme teams, there's a difference. It's quite a drop in the sea, but really it's getting there. And also economically, people are managing to make a little bit of money where they are actually getting assistance from the department in a form of a stipend. But because of their hard work, they are also able to employ, maybe I can say job opportunities. They are able to employ other people that are being paid from their sales. Next. In this slide, I'm just trying to show you the teams that are there in Mpumalanga, which are actually working hard in solving the environmental problems. In 2019, when I was talking about the launch, we had only 4 teams. That is Bupilo Recycling, and I thought Belinda was going to talk about them because they planted a lot of money in this project. But I know she has got a lot. She needs to portray others. And then also the Abundance of Joy Consulting, they are in Tegwani, in city of Mbombela, where I am right now. And they've got 12 participants, but the work that they are doing on the ground is amazing. We've got Sikosho in Recycling, who are already members of Petco, and they are also working a lot with the glass recycling company. And also in Delmas, we've got this 5 young boys who are doing very big difference in the community by they've already now started the sorting at source, where they give the households. Arbor is just a small town within Delmas or Victor Kanye local municipality, and they give them the plastics, and the communities are happily to separate for them so that they should not take recyclables from the other non-recyclables, but they sort them for them, and they walk to go to get those. Fortunately, also Petco gave them some trolleys, but I think we still need more because now they are growing, they are able to employ others. Next slide. Then in Kangala, I was talking about the launching, but now there was a growth from the 4 projects when we were launching it. They actually grew up to be more. So in the province, in Mpumalanga province, we've got 4 districts. That is Nkangala, Gertsibande, Ehlanzeni, and Buhlabela. So in each, I'm just going to show in each district that there's an improvement. As I've said, that it was only Delmas in 2019. Then in 2021, we added 5 in Kangala. In other words, we've got 6 now. The Vezubuhle, Serfontein, Buelekaya, they are in Vikral, Sihlanzimvelo, Butleng, and Hendrina. That is very working closely with Petco as well. And they are in a process of rolling out the processing the processing plant within Mpumalanga, which is a dream of my department that is going to take place in the very near future. Next slide. Then in Ehlanzeni, we've got 6, and we didn't have any. We had Siabadi, that is down there at Nkomazi. Then now we have added 6, then we've got 7. And also they are doing very well, including the Tegwani one. So in other words, in total, that the communities that are benefiting from the ZIP program, it's 8, because we're still supporting those who were there in 2019. We're still supporting them with PPE, though we're not giving them stipend, because we employ them in a EPWP system, where after 2 years, then we take them out of the system, we put others for them to. The stipend is just to motivate them. But I loved the approach of the department, because we did not get people who are sitting under the tree and pull them through to come and do recycling. But what we did, we looked at the people that are doing that are putting efforts in doing the work. Then to motivate them, then we put them on the system just for them to have a stipend that is expiring after 2 years. But what is lovely is that the programs won't collapse, because they are dedicated. They've been doing the work before, and then during the 2 years, with companies like Petco, Plastic SA, and the Glass Recycling Company, we are able to train them so that they can be independent at the end of the 2 years. Next slide. So here is still very slow. We've got Sikoshweni, as I've mentioned before, and then the other one at what we call it, Green Valley. Then plus these 2 is only 4 teams that are working on recycling. So we still need to do a lot of work here. And I thought I was still going to suggest to Petco that we can just start to have at least the other villages because already there are people who are working and who are reporting to me, who are showing the way they are diverting the waste to the landfill site, but they are not yet in the system. So if we can also train them and then portray them, show their work as we do with these others, then I think it will give us progress. Next slide. Also in Khartsibande, we've got the Bupilo Recycling and Mpuluzi Zip Team. These are young people, 7 young people who are doing the work, and they are still learning. And I'm happy that there is a buyback center at Mpuluzi. It's assisting them a lot because they are able to sell their recyclables to them. And they also working very hard to see themselves being a buyback center, because they've got a lot of villages around them that they want to introduce the recycling program at. Next slide. So with assistance of private companies and the municipalities, I won't forget all the municipalities that are supporting: Bushbuck Ridge Municipality, Tembisile Local Municipality, Victor Kanye. Actually, all the municipalities where the program is, they are working hand in hand with us, and including the private companies, Petco, Glass Recycling Company, and Plastic SA. We are doing wonders on the ground. As you can see here, these are the workshops that they are done only for the first and the second quarter. Accredited training that Belinda was showing, we also part of it. And all these other workshops where we went here in Nelspruit, and also in Kangala, and also Bushbuck Ridge. And recently we are planning to go back to Msugalegwa, and I requested them that we should also explore municipalities like Dipaliseng and Legwa. Those are areas that are still lacking, but with the help of Petco, I know we're gonna reach them. Next slide. Yes, here is just to show that the department is supporting the ZIP teams with the what we call with the PPE, and then also with the stipend. And we also don't forget those who are out of the system. We still give them PPE. And now we are planning, and I just want to plead with Belinda that these other ones, Brilliant Lou, they are in MLO. They are not yet getting assistance. I'm only giving them plastic bags and bulk bags from Petco, so that they should do the work, but they are not yet on the system. Hlaisani Recycling, Uta, that is in Bushbuck Ridge, and Nyekisa Recycling, Belfast, next to Skukuza. So all these people are still needing the assistance. So I think we will have to make preparations for them for the coming financial year. Then the accredited training, as I've said, we are part. We have received 140 people benefited from this. We're still waiting for their CETA certificates. And these are pictures that shows the cleanups that landing at landing at the communities where they do the sorting. And after doing the sorting, then they will also take the recyclables, and the municipality will come with a truck and take the residuals to the landfill site. Those are pictures most similar with the ones Belinda has shared to show that the work was done. This was a workshop by...
Sorry, I can go back.
Yeah, but
you've
not
got
a problem. I think you are right. The pictures.
We've got 2 minutes left.
Okay, so let me go there.
I wanted to get to the good stuff.
So for 2023, we will be having good new teams, and then we will also advise that they should be people that are working on the ground, and they should also form themselves into groups and register as a cooperative, and then also identify an area where they could be working, so that we should make arrangement with the relevant municipalities to assist with the space, as Belinda have said. And also, Belinda, we've got sites that are very active, like Bezubuhle. They need fencing. Please, I would appreciate if we can get assistance on those regard. And then they identified, okay. So we working with them.
You can go for it. What makes the teams different?
Yes,
sorry, I thought you were done.
Yeah, they become different because you remember other people are going around taking only what they are going to sell. But with the ZIP team, they clear the environment, they remove everything, then they sort the waste for recyclable, and then the recyclables they separate. Then also the municipality takes the residuals to the landfill site. That is very, very, very key, because you can't just take what you want and leave the environment filthy. I think we can have the last slide, which is the last slide. Thank you, Kara. These are companies that are on the picture now. And Coca-Cola, I just want to say that even if I didn't mention, but they are supporting 3 buyback center in Mpumalanga by subsidizing their transport when they're transporting their recyclables to the recyclers in Gauteng. They subsidize them because they are meeting the tonnage every month. That is Hendrina, maybe I can, Carino, Hendrina, and Siapadi. Thank you very much.
All right, good morning, everyone. This caught me a little bit by surprise. I've got a little cake and a coffee between the lips, but that's fine. I'm Saliem Haider. I'm the Director of Waste Management at Provincial Government, Department of Environmental Affairs, Development and Planning. And yeah, I've been given quite a mouthful to present, and I'm just going to try and share my screen and hope this works. Do let me know if you can all see it. Yeah, so yeah, it's a mouthful of what I need to present, but I think the idea was to try and leverage off my learnings from both in the municipal environment as well as from the provincial sort of sector. So yeah, I'm just going to take you through some of the sort of issues. This is actually a lot of stuff that one can talk about. 15 minutes is short, and I'm going to zap through it as much as I can. So just in terms of the content, this is really what the presentation is going to touch on, what the roles are, the challenges experienced, successful implementation of programs, and also looking at the way forward in terms of actually meeting these sort of challenges that's out there. So that's just the slide showing the sort of broad vision that we've got, and it's a common vision. And I think this is the sort of thing that we all need to relate to. And yeah, this is where we want to be. This slide just gives us a brief overview of what the situation has been like this is for the Western Cape. So there's been an 11.8% population increase. And these are the figures as at 2020. And what is also noticeable is the sort of high level of migration that's also coming through. So there's a lot of things that need to be taken into consideration, and it needs to be factored in. And one can also see the sort of amounts of waste that was sort of generated, which is just over the 2 million tons that has actually gone to landfill. So what's the role of government? Well, government basically got to fuel growth, investment and development. It's got to manage its resources that it has. It's got to promote the best possible service delivery, and there's a huge emphasis on service delivery. And of course, there needs to be transparency and accountability in the governance thereof. And quite often, these things don't always relate quite well across the board in terms of achieving 3, which is the service delivery that needs to be there. I'm just going to go through this very quickly. These are just some of the legal areas that we need to give effect to. So this is NEMA. There's also the Healthcare Waste Management Act, Healthcare Risk Waste Management Regulations, and also the General Notices on the Waste Act. Of course, the overall sort of overlying sort of criteria is the Constitution, and then all the other sort of SEMAs tend to flow from there. And our role really is to give effect to the actions that is set out in the National Waste Management Strategy, which is from national government. And yeah, we are the sort of buffer in between. So we liaise with both national and local government to ensure that there's synergy, programs are properly implemented, and that we see a common vision for the waste outcome that needs to be there. So just from our side, these are the sort of roles that we've got within our Directorate of Waste Management Planning, of Waste Management, which includes planning, and this is development, implementation, and coordinating the RWMPs, as well as information management. Information management is crucial because without that, we can't really do our planning. We can't really foresee where we're going. So, yeah, big plea to all is to please provide good quality information, because that is really what's needed. Then, of course, there's also our waste policy and minimization subdirectorate, and this is really to ensure that we've got good diversion from landfill, as well as just ensuring that the economic growth sectors are there. And the previous speakers have touched on, particularly around the waste picker integration, as well as this sort of empowering this SMMEs that are out there. And then, of course, the other sort of subdirectorate is regulatory services, to ensure that we issue licenses where needed, and that those that have or are in ownership of these licenses are complying with these sort of regulations that's there. This slide is so busy, it's actually a postcard that's overfilled with stamps, but it gives one a sense of what are the sort of activities that's really needed, the amount of resources that's there, and we're battling on all fronts, because you don't have sufficient budgets, you don't have enough resources, but there's a lot to cover within the province itself. So what's the role of municipalities? And I think this is really what today's sort of webinar is focusing on. So it's to structure and manage its administration. So you've got to have very good administrative controls, and there needs to be a budgeting and planning process. And the reason for that is to ensure that there's priority given for the basic needs of the community, of which waste management is one of them. So it's also to promote social and economic development. So it's to ensure that there is a livelihood within these sort of municipalities. It's important for a municipality to also ensure there's good economic growth, because there needs to be income that needs to come into the municipalities from those that's still living and partaking in it, so that they can actually fund these sort of services. And quite strangely enough, just a week ago, I was sort of being questioned by a journalist about the whole organic waste diversion, and I indicated the importance of this and awareness and education to ratepayers. And the question I had as a follow-up was, what is a ratepayer? And I was completely stunned and taken aback by that question. But anyway, this is just what's out there. And it's important also to participate in national and provincial development programs. So municipalities can't sort of run it on its own. It's got to have that sort of proper integration with national and provincial government. We have 3 spheres of government, and they all need to work in conjunction with one another. So where's it gone wrong? I think from a waste perspective, and please, this is sort of my sort of take on what I've seen and come across over the years. And I think the structure of waste management is not quite where it should be. So in some areas, you get waste management structured in the technical department, and in others, it's within community services, which is a huge difference and makes it difficult to really get synergies going within municipal sectors. So it also results in not having a cohesive approach within the municipality when it is in the, let's call it the incorrect directorate. And in my mind, waste management is a highly technical sort of area. Yes, it does lead to community services, but the essence, the planning, the budgeting is better done if it's actually within technical services. So that's really where it should be focused, not community services. The planning and budgeting is often an afterthought. And again, yeah, I always go back to the example. I'm very happy and glad that God, or the supreme human, or not human, but the supreme sort of spirit out there, created mankind, because when mankind was created, it came with an alimentary canal right from the outset. It wasn't an afterthought. But unfortunately, the planning within the sort of structures that's out there never really consider waste. You'll always hear it's a priority sector, but when it comes to the budgeting and planning, these things are not well aligned as such. Staff and communication. Some municipalities may or may not have the right sort of people at the helm. When I say the right people, technically qualified people to run within waste management. But I think the bigger problem comes in when important issues need to be communicated to decision makers higher up. And there is a complete breakdown with regards to really emphasizing the importance of the waste issues that need to filter through. And this is not always coming through per se. The other issue that municipalities are faced with is the growth of the informal settlements. And this is right here in the Western Cape. This is not some African country that's, where there's no services. This is here. And unfortunately, with the sort of growth of informal settlements, it makes planning, budgeting, and particularly the planning issue extremely difficult, because how do you factor all of this in terms of, budgetary process, services, access to services to the communities? And one of the pictures I was looking for that I couldn't really get in time for this presentation was actually where you've got these sort of collection vehicles navigating illegal sort of connections, and you've actually got to have guys lifting it up so that a truck can actually pass through just to get there. And they use a steel rake on these illegal electrical connections. I mean, just the risks are just crazy. Then at IDP meetings, little to no waste management issues ever crop up there. It's always the issues around electricity, it's around the roads, it's around water. But if waste management issues are not raised, then again, it's seen as very low priority, particularly when it comes to budgeting and planning. And then, of course, our landfill airspace is depleted. I don't think there's many municipalities in the Western Cape that can say, I'm sitting comfortably with the amount of landfill airspace that's there. And we seriously need to look at alternatives to disposal. And I'm saying disposal because waste to energy has not really cracked it. I think we've looked at lots of issues. There's a huge debate that can go into this as well. And therefore, greater emphasis is needed for circular economy initiatives. We've got to start making better use of the resources we buried. And just a study done by the consultants of national government has just indicated that within the waste economy, there is about 17 billion rands worth of resources that we are burying. And really, we need to be a lot more efficient in handling it. And quite surprisingly, that figure ties in very well with the CSIR study that was done a few years ago that also pitched it at around the 15 to 17 billion rand mark. So we're throwing away valuable things. So again, just to re-emphasize, that's the sort of where you see red dots, that's where we've got landfill airspace crises. There's only one green dot, that's Swartland, that has got sufficient airspace, and the city's got sort of, somewhere in between of being okay. I wouldn't say great at this stage. So this is really a serious consideration we've got to face. Then, of course, within ourselves, we've got these sort of functional work groups from the, if one just look at the horizontal sort of perspective, we've got the Western Cape Recycling Action Group workshops where we interface, government interface with the sort of stakeholders on recycling and economic sort of activities. Then there's also the Waste Management Officers Forum. There's also the Industry Waste Management Forum, where we try and engage with the sort of sectors out there to ensure that we can, A, understand what the needs are, and being able to also bring forth any sort of policy, regulatory issues that they need to be aware of, and also try and make sure that there's the sort of communication channels that's open. And then on the vertical axis, you've got the sort of working group, which is where national, SALGA, and all the provinces get together to discuss waste management issues. These are then fed down to the Officers Forum, which also needs to go to the regional Officers Forum as well. Role of provincial government, really it's to make sure that there's legislative effects, facilitation between the different parties, there's regulation that's put in place amongst others in terms of ensuring that we can operate and run the sort of services and ensure that we meet the objectives of the National Waste Management Strategy and any other sort of legislative impacts that's there for a better waste management, let's call it arena, that's out there. The challenges that we often face is there are unequal distributions. If we take the Western Cape, the bulk of the activities lie within the city of Cape Town, and of course you want to hedge your bets where you know you're going to get your services, but it also means that those on the peripheries are going to be neglected, and we can't afford that, we can't allow that. So we need to ensure that services are equally distributed throughout, even though the numbers may not be there. Then, of course, there's also lack of budget and resources, as previously mentioned, and that hamper our ability to be everywhere in order to tackle a lot of these sort of issues that's there. Right, just let's run through the opportunities, because this is really where we needed to focus in on. And the first thing we've got to do is valorize our waste. Let it be physically observed so that people can understand what the value of waste is. And there was no better way to do this than running the sort of swap shops that were put in place. And I mean, you can see the sort of long line of queues. There's more than 100 people at 8:30 in the morning ready to trade their recyclables. Again, a difficult space for municipalities to operate in. And that's why I quite like the sort of Petco or the Polyco sort of packaging type model that was there, because that will also give it a greater sort of span within which they can actually get to places to be able to do these sort of trade-offs that's needed. And the community learns very quickly what the value of waste is. Schools, education and awareness, this is obviously important. This is where it needs to start. Again, different approaches to different schools. You've got schools from advantaged sort of backgrounds, you've got schools from disadvantaged backgrounds. So one can't go with the same sort of fit and message, and one needs to sort of cater for that as well. And again, one of the sort of key areas that needs to be highlighted where this has been very successful is the overstrand sort of puppet shows that they often run in terms of just bringing the sort of waste issues to the fore. And this is still ongoing, and I think they're planning their next one coming up as well. So this is, again, a great platform to utilize. Innovation, we've got to start embracing innovation. There's actually such a lot of things going on at the moment with different service providers. I know that there's some that's currently sort of just taking and cleaning out all these sort of fat traps, and they're taking all the fats, oils and greases, converting it into biofuel. And with the sort of cost of fuel and raw materials where it is at, these are the sort of things that we need to look at. What about sort of biogas stations? With the sort of organic waste ban that's there, these are the sort of opportunities that we really need to explore. This is not a local picture. This is what's happening overseas, but nothing stops us from getting to these sort of stages as well. Then there was the sort of project that was run with builders rubble and clay. There was excess stocks. What about making bricks out of it? These bricks can be quite nicely used, and it's actually an opportunity for housing structures, but the municipality needs to embrace it. And in this case, the municipality didn't. The stuff was all sort of lying in the yard, got degraded with weather, and I think a huge opportunity was lost in the process. So again, this could be termed a missed opportunity that was really there. Then, of course, we've got to utilize the policy tools and legislation. There's a number of landfill bans that's come to the fore now. I did mention the sort of organic waste ban by 2027 in the Western Cape. No more organics to landfill. Areas around e-waste, tires, etc. started up already. So this is actually just the sort of right sort of instruments that's needed to push and ensure that we're actually going to the right direction. And then, of course, EPR. I think EPR has been touched on. And I think that in itself just creates the opportunity to stimulate the sort of recycling sector that's so much needed, and also bridge the gap between, let's call it LPROs, private sector and government as well. And we need to get that cooperation running. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Then, of course, integrate and recognize the social fabric. This is one of government's sort of key priority areas, and waste picker integration and SMME upliftment is so key and crucial to this as well. Not easy spaces to operate in, but we've got to eat this elephant, one piece at a time and try and get it right, because this is crucial. We can't ignore it, and we need to ensure that it's properly in place. And then, of course, regionalization. I think with different municipalities all battling with financial resources, the cost of compliance is so high. What better mechanism than to apply regionalization principles? Again, not an easy sort of process to work upon. And yeah, I'm referring to regionalization for waste sites, which in essence is taking anywhere between 15 to 20 years to get this together. We need to really cut this and make the time span much shorter. Now, if this is for landfills, imagine what it would be like for waste to energy plants that may need to come up, and where we need regionalized solutions. So the sort of advantages are really there for this, and we need to harness these sort of opportunities. I know quite a few municipalities or district municipalities are now at the point of regionalization, and we need to hold hands and ensure that this is actually successfully implemented. Otherwise, yeah, we're going to see those red marks on our map for much longer. So just the way forward, so we've got to recognize and optimize the efforts of the public and private sector. We can't, government can't go alone. And it's quite important that there are some great innovative techniques, means, opportunities that the private sector has. And those doors need to be opened by government so that we can work together. I mean, the areas around PPP in the waste sector has been abysmal to date, and we need to really turn that around, because and that is the reason why we're burying 17 billion rands worth of opportunities, because we're not getting the sort of synergies right from within. And then, of course, I can't do this without mentioning the supply chain management issues. This is a huge barrier, within reason. I mean, with all the sort of things one read about government corruption, etc. It's one of the reasons why hands get tied, because you've got some unscrupulous parties in and amongst the mix as well. And then, of course, there's the fear of the Auditor General. We can't be paralyzed by the systems. We've got to ensure that we've got smooth flowing systems, and otherwise we're not going to get the necessary economic growth and service delivery. I ask you, in 2018, how many service delivery protests took place in that year? You can just throw your numbers in the chat, and within a minute's time, I'll actually give you the right number, but I just want to see if you get it right. Is it under 1,000? Is it 2,000? Is it 4,000 or less, 5,000 or less, or is it 10,000 or less, or more than 10,000? Just take your pick and just pop it in the chat. I'll tell you just now. So yeah, what is important is that government needs to work together with the private sector, with all the other parties, with the waste pickers, with every person that's actually contributing to the waste economy. And I think if we can get that right, we'll go a long way to sorting out all our challenges and our issues that's there. It's a long road and it's a tough road, but we've got to stand together because we all have a common objective, a common vision. The world last week hit the 8 billion population mark. Although the reports in the news was South Africa must not worry about it, I think we need to worry because for every extra person that's there, we need to ensure there's enough resources for them to achieve within their lifetime as well. And we've just lost, I just saw this morning, we've just lost the nature reserve at Drakenstein, which is now deproclamated. So yeah, there's a lot at stake and we need to do things the proper way. Thank you. I think that's about it from my side. And just to maybe reveal that number of protest action that took place, the answer was 14,500. So not sure if you all got that right.
Wow.
Thank you very much. And we'll leave it at that.
On that high note, thank you so much, Saliem. And yeah, well done for getting that all into that short time. I know I gave you quite a difficult task, but you did an excellent job. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us. It's greatly appreciated. And now on to Tace.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's try again. Thank you very much, Cara, and Petco for the opportunity to share some information with other colleagues and waste entrepreneurs on how, with the assistance of Petco, and other partners, our Drakenstein Municipality from landfill livelihood, providing waste pickers with a formal operating system. Thank you, Cara. You can move to the next slide, please. How was this and why was this program implemented? Now, during 2018, Drakenstein Municipality had about 70 plus illegal informal recyclers on site, and they jumped on the vehicles, they damaged vehicles of the visitors. There was a drug smuggling consortium on the site. It became a gangster paradise on site. It was against our license conditions, and it prohibited Drakenstein Municipality to operate the site. It threatened our visitors and theft of equipment from visitors. Our landfill site on that time became unmanageable, and we were also awaiting a directive for the possibility to the withdrawal of our license for managing the landfill site. So Drakenstein Municipality had to provide a safe disposal facility to our public in Drakenstein. Now, Drakenstein has got only one operating landfill site, which is Wellington landfill site. And thank you, Cara, the next one. And we had to implement projects and programs. And when, as I've said, when we approach these, on that time, the illegal recyclers, as you can see on the screen, it was just unmanageable. It was, I mean, the waste was not covered. We couldn't cover it. And in fact, the informal recyclers prohibit the municipality of operating. And then the moment that the waste was covered, thank you, Cara, then it was set alight, and then you will see this is how it looked in the landfill site at Wellington. So we had really huge problems on the landfill site. Thank you, Cara. Now, how was this program implemented and with the assistance of Petco and our partnership? On the 20th of July, we've started on the 1st of July to communicate with the waste entrepreneurs, and we had several meetings with them. And then after the lady, the picture on the right is Marilyn Peters. Marilyn is the lady that usually bought the recycled material while the informal recyclers were on the landfill site. And while we were talking and had meetings with the informal recyclers, then she came and presented herself as the waste pickers requested her to assist her to come and listen on what is the municipality planning to do and how is it going to work, because we informed the waste pickers to say, listen, that we cannot carry on like that. We have to accommodate you separate from the working surface. And as I've said, we had some really nice meetings. Then eventually what happened on the 20th of July, the waste pickers were accommodated separate from the working surface. As you can see in the picture left, there were about 70 of them, 69 I think was the exact number. And then eventually what the municipality has done is that the municipality extended the recycling at source project, which was on that time only a pilot project, in order to provide more feedstock to these waste entrepreneurs. Now, they're not illegal anymore, and we love to call them then waste entrepreneurs because they became actually entrepreneurs overnight with the assistance of Drakenstein Municipality. And these entrepreneurs, Cara, thank you, the next slide. With the assistance of Belinda Booker from Department of Environmental Affairs in the Western Cape, we provided training. You can see they are sitting. Drakenstein Municipality has provided them with PPE, we've provided them T-shirts, and then eventually DARDLEA also came in, Belinda, and assisted us with training to these waste entrepreneurs. Thank you, Cara. The next slide. Then Drakenstein Municipality was acknowledged by Petco, which we are very, very happy and very glad to be associated with a company such as Petco, who always supports and assists us with this Waste Entrepreneurs project during 2019. And we were awarded the Local Authority Recycling Innovation Prize during that year for innovation projects, and the specific projects where we've separately accommodated waste entrepreneurs. And part of that, thank you, Cara, the next slide, part of the prize, the prize wasn't in cash, but it was to the value of 20,000 Rand. We requested Petco to provide to us 2 trolleys to the value of about 20,000 Rand. And then Drakenstein Municipality, that enabled Drakenstein Municipality to commence with the next project where we would like to integrate our street trolley people. Now you will see there, now that takes quite a time. We are busy for the past about 6-8 months where we have regularly meet weekly with the street trolley people. We've even went so far where we have busy streamlining where the street trolley people can sell their products to the waste entrepreneurs, which is accommodated now at the Paul transfer station. In order for the street trolley people not to walk so far to the different buyback centers, the current leader of the waste entrepreneurs is also is going to provide a vehicle of himself and a trailer to collect these material from the street trolley people and then to bring it to the waste entrepreneurs. Now, Drakenstein Municipality is still busy with the process. We haven't integrated the street people or the street trolley people yet, but we're in the process, and I'm 100% sure also with further assistance from Petco and other companies or other partnerships, this will also be a success story. Then, thank you, Cara. You can take the next picture, please. Then also our female waste entrepreneurs, with the assistance of other partnerships such as the Mina Cup or the, I think it was also University of Western Cape, and also Department of Environmental Affairs, donated sanitary pads to the lady lady waste entrepreneurs. And this was also the handover where we've received that. The ladies, what they do is they come to the reception of the solid waste department, where they are, my office also is, and at the entrance they just request for sanitary pads. They just sign for reception of it, for receipt of it, and then eventually we hand over some of the sanitary pads for them. Thank you, Cara. Now, what was the outcome and the impact on the area? Now, as you can see, this is an area picture or a picture from the Wellington landfill site. Now, if you remember the picture with the fires, then you can. There's no comparison. So the impact on the area specifically, where we have taken off the waste entrepreneurs and accommodated them separately, was much huge improvement. And thank you, Cara. The next slide. And then what was the outcome or the impact on our waste entrepreneurs? Now, during this year, or the past financial year, Petco also donated PPE to the waste entrepreneurs. They are currently, for the past 4 years, the project is now 4.5 years running. So for the past 4 years, the number are 30. So 30 waste entrepreneurs come in the morning and do a recycling, and then eventually at 5 o'clock leave again. Now, this PPE donated by Petco has got the logo of Petco, the logo of Drakenstein Municipality, and then each and every waste entrepreneur's name is also written on the or printed on the PPE. Thank you, Cara. The next slide. What was the outcome or the impact for the entrepreneurs? It continues now. Well, the outcome was Drakenstein Municipality provided them with a dignified working environment. They have got a dignified life, and they received respect from other residents. The sustainable livelihood to the entrepreneurs, and very interesting, when they used to be on the landfill site, they earned about 250 Rand per week. Now, that was 4 years ago. Currently, they are earning 1,200 Rand plus per week. We as Drakenstein provide clean and sustainable feedstock for which has got more value to the waste entrepreneurs. Then our partnerships between Drakenstein Municipality, Petco, University of Cape Town, and Nina Cup Foundation was also to the benefit of the waste entrepreneurs. And then Drakenstein Municipality has budgeted and awarded a tender to the value of 10 million to upgrade our MRF and provide conveyor belts and collecting points for the waste entrepreneurs within the MRF, so they will move into our MRF, and it will also increase the productivity. And currently, they're working on the open floor, picking by hand, but construction will commence in February 2023 and will be completed by August 2023. Then just 1 or 2 points. What tips of advice to waste entrepreneurs to obtain assistance from your municipality? You must choose a leader and let your leader approach the municipality. The best thing, and that is what worked for us, is that the waste entrepreneurs was able to provide us with stats, which we have then, of course, we are reporting it on IPWS, our monthly record keeping method to the Department of Environmental Affairs. We have also, and then what you must do is propose to your municipality that you would like to do a test run, a pilot. Then very important, get your Department of Environmental Affairs involved. We are very, very fortunate to have, and I can give credit to Saliem and his team. Us in the Western Cape, the municipalities are very fortunate to have very active, involved officials and the department. And yeah, without them, I think it will be a battle for the municipality. So thank you, Saliem, for you and your team. Then, of course, organize the entrepreneurs and work as a team. And then one very, very important thing, do not expect everything free of charge. the municipality, and I will get to that slide, there's a certain role that the municipalities have to play. But the private sector and also you as a waste entrepreneur has also a role to play. And I will come to that. Thank you, Cara. The next slide. What are the challenges and the lessons that Drakenstein Municipality has learned? The challenges and lessons learned, if it wasn't for Marilyn Peterson, that lady that was identified by the entrepreneurs and whom they trust, and we also had a trust relationship or formed a trust relationship between the waste entrepreneurs and Drakenstein Municipality, I think it would have been much, much more difficult to succeed in this project. Then, of course, rather gain the trust and respect of the waste entrepreneurs. I know a lot of waste entrepreneurs or a lot of municipalities. It is a challenge for a municipality to have a lot of people on the landfill site, but rather gain their trust and rather respect and work with them as a partner instead of against them. Of course, everyone is not interested in the offer to work separately or accommodated separately from a working surface, and respect that. What we've done on our side is we've said we'll give you one opportunity, and that is why the numbers came down from 69 to 30. There were certain rules, ground rules, and if you do not obey these rules, then sorry, then you have to leave. Listen to the needs and let the waste entrepreneurs feel valued, because they do contribute and they do play a very, very important role. Provide, of course, sufficient feedstock to the entrepreneurs and let them organize amongst themselves for leaders, what collect, who collects what, where and when. And then from Drakenstein Municipality side, we do not pay any wages. The waste entrepreneurs are working for themselves. The principle is the harder you work, the greater the reward. So we provide the facility as a municipality. We provide with our partners PPE. We provide feedstock. We provide transport for the feedstock. And then, of course, we also don't have no expectation for any payment from the waste entrepreneurs. Thank you, Cara. The next slide. Then, as I've said, also challenges and lessons that we've learned is there must be within the municipality, there must be a champion who is driving this process. It is important. It's not just, it shouldn't be just a job. You must have a passion for that. And we as the municipality, we are in service of the public. We are in service of the ratepayers, and we have to serve them. And we have to see how it can work. And I mean, here Drakenstein Municipality can prove after 4.5 years the project is sustainable. We've started with another project. And then, of course, one thing which is very important is the partnerships. I've mentioned that, the NGOs, private companies, and of course, the Department of Environmental Affairs. And then the last point, but also with the assistance of Belinda Langenhoven from Saliem's team, they also assist us with drawing up contracts between the municipality and these waste entrepreneurs. And within the process now, actually the contracts are with our legal people to go through and to screen it. And the waste entrepreneurs strike the 100 tons for the month, which was recycled and then sent to buyback centers. They average about, in the beginning, 35, 38, 40 tons. So we are very excited with the improvement of the MRF coming in February, and with the conveyor belts, I'm 100% sure that we will definitely increase the productivity there. Cara, thank you very much. This was the last slide, and then thank you for the opportunity. Again, my apologies for the delay and the challenges, but nevertheless, any questions, I would glad to answer that.
Perfect, Tess. Thank you so much. And not to worry, as I said in the intro, gremlins tend to creep in. So hopefully our audience was able to give us some grace. I think I'm going to move into our Q&A now. I'm just going to share my screen quickly. So there are a few questions. There are 7 questions over here. I think, Belinda, you've already answered one of them. I'm going to start off with just answering Tumelo Selahlala's question, which said, does Petco hold a call like this with manufacturers, brand owners, and converters in labeling and packaging? And the answer is yes. We have different webinars that we run. The latest series was on design for recycling. So it speaks about how you can design your packaging and labeling for recycling and circularity. All of those are on our YouTube channel, which you are welcome to go and have a look at. Jody, if you're on the call, if you wouldn't mind just sharing the links to the latest webinars, that would be great. Then a question to Linah from Alison. It says, do you have some type of MOU with Petco for the Zonda Insila Programme project? If yes, can it possibly be shared with other municipalities or provincial colleagues for info? Linah, I'm not sure if you want to answer that, or maybe Belinda, as you are on the Petco side.
All I can, thank you, Kara. All I can say is in process, because I've made my chief director, who is directly responsible for this program that is assigned to me, ZIP. Then in the Petco, they spoke with Belinda that they need to sit down and draft the MOU. But for now, there's none. But we are working. We are not waiting for the MOU will find us along the road. Thank you.
Thank you, Linah. Then Saliem, I see you started typing an answer to the question that says, would like to know if the council provides council property for recycling in the southern suburbs, specifically in the Western Cape, and who may we contact for that assistance? Saliem, are you able to answer, please?
Sorry, just finding the unmute. I think it may be best to speak to the City of Cape Town officials in the waste minimization section of solid waste management. There I can maybe just pass you on to Alison Evans or Alfonso Noble, whom I think may be best placed to assist in that. Thanks.
Perfect. There is a request, Saliem, for your contact details as well, if you are comfortable to share them in the chat. That would be great. Thank you for sharing the webinar links, Jody. If anyone else is interested in design for recycling, you can go and have a look in the chat. Then there's a question from Alison that says, Belinda, is there a pamphlet or some information which can be circulated to bioduct centers on Project Up to inform them and share info?
I think possibly we have some pamphlets, but I think the best would be for them to contact us and then we can register them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think that would be the easiest step, because it's still, even if you have the pamphlet, it doesn't really make sense. We do one-on-one training and presentations to them. So let them just contact us and then we will sign them up. Okay, perfect. Then there's a question here that says, new to the industry or comment, where or how to request bags, Gauteng or Limpopo, thanks. You can send an email to info@petco.co.za. Jody, if you could please just also write that in the chat, just who people can contact for support and request for things like equipment and training. We do work on a first come, first serve basis. And yeah, so that is that. You can email that email address. Then there is another one that says, how do we deal with waste generated by sanitary pads themselves, as well as things like Huggies or disposable nappies, incinerating them as unintended consequences with a negative impact on air quality? I don't know if anyone else has any input on this. I personally don't have enough information. I know that at this point, unfortunately, things like nappies and sanitary pads have a
very big negative impact on landfill sites and the environment. We often, where possible, encourage reusable menstrual cups and things like that, but I don't know of any other solutions. I don't know if anyone else has anything else to add to this.
So far, the nappies, Kara, if I may come in.
Yeah.
To do. So far, there's no solution. We are really struggling all over the country with the nappies and yeah. So we will appreciate if the municipalities can just improve the covering at the landfill site. Maybe it will work for now, but really it's not recyclable. There's a problem.
Okay, thank you for your input. It's gone to other slide.
Can I maybe just add to that, Dora?
Sure, thank you, Saliem.
It's just that national government has actually looked at the issue around absorbent healthcare waste products, and that's what they grouped it as. So this study was undertaken in 2019, 2020, and at the time it was done by the consultants. They actually identified 5 sort of facilities that needed to be constructed throughout the country. I know one was earmarked for the Western Cape as well to actually treat the absorbent healthcare waste products itself. There's also a lot of interest in terms of greening the product, and we've been approached by some parties that's interested in setting up a facility of this nature to ensure that we've got a good sort of, let's call it environmentally friendly product that's also out there. So there is work being undertaken in that domain. Thanks.
Thank you, Saliem. Someone from the organic sector also just said washable nappies are the answer. Mentioned that in the chat. Then, Belinda, have we worked with eThekwini Municipality before? This person's asking if eThekwini Municipality is part or has knowledge about Petco.
Yeah, we work with them a lot. We do workshops. We work with all of them continuously.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. And then someone's also asking about Buffalo City Municipality and someone to contact there. Belinda, can I tell this person to just contact you?
Yeah, they can contact me because I've just seen them. I was there 2 weeks ago and we are planning great projects together.
Perfect. Then there's another question. I know that we are a little bit over time. I'm going to just do 3 more minutes because there are quite a few questions here. Someone says, not a question, but I would like to ask what private recycling collection companies are not left out. Our company, Whole Earth Recycling, collects recycling from about 6,000 houses, offices and schools in Johannesburg, and we support the community project consisting of up to 35 sorters, previously reclaimers. The sorters sort the recyclables to generate income for themselves. In total, we support over 50 families. Every time the city launches a new curbside collection service, we lose around 3,000 clients and almost go barely up. It's very disheartening. Belinda, I don't know if you have any input on that or not.
Yeah, not really. We always tell municipalities they must first see what is currently in their municipalities before they initiate any other programs, because it's the truth. They do damage existing programs. Yeah.
Okay, so just in the interest, Kathy, Marshall, I've also seen your comment in the chat about an application for equipment. We will follow up on that. Maybe you can also just send an email to Belinda. Belinda, I'm not sure if you saw in the chat, someone just said they've been in contact.
Yeah, I've actually put my contact details in there. Everybody's welcome to please contact me. We will not be doing any more support for this year, but we are busy looking at new applications for 2023. Plus, Petco has also now got interns that we're busy training that will be specifically based in the different provinces. So you will have more attention from us, trust me.
Okay, perfect. And then there's just one more, that just someone says, is something that Petco can help with in terms of helping with cleaning up things like dump sites?
Well, no, Petco, our staff, we don't do, we go to invited cleanup campaigns. So if the people have a program that they want to implement, and we will help them with what their needs are. We've helped Coca-Cola and municipalities in many areas where afterwards they've implemented food gardens or car washes or things like that, so that people don't continue dumping there. But we as a team don't go out and clean up dumps. No, they must let the municipalities do that.
Perfect. All right. I think that is it. I don't want to go any more over time than we already have. So thank you for everyone's patience. I know we are 5 minutes over. But just quickly, thank you so much to all of our speakers. I think this has been so informative and interesting, both from other municipalities to learn, as well as collectors and waste entrepreneurs and people on the ground that have been trying to implement different programs. I know that the end of the year is coming and it's a crazy time. So thank you all so much for your time and passion and effort that you put into the presentations, and for sharing your knowledge with us. I know that sometimes people struggle to get in touch with people in municipalities, and this is just, I think, created a really great platform for people to understand what's going on behind the scenes and what opportunities exist. So thank you to all of our speakers. Thank you to all of our attendees. And I hope that you all have a great rest of the day. And yeah, looking forward to the continuing conversations and collaborations that continue and stem from this session. So with that, I'm just going to leave the chat up for a little while. For any comments, we always appreciate feedback. And otherwise, please feel free to leave the session once you are ready to. Bye from me.